Here we are back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the AWE Slip to Strap podcast. This is Hollywood Connolly with the double biceps. It is in the contract and legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. I did see the Price is Right thing that time. It's the first time I've ever seen you do it because I actually looked for it. Every other time I only look at myself and look at my biceps. It is in the contract, a legally required obligation. Just making sure that the lawyers are happy and the boxes are ticked. The man to my left, but to your right, it is in fact the co-founder, the co-pilot, the co-breather of air, the co-wearer of clothes in this very room. It is in fact the king of sting, the master of disaster, the Count of Monte Cristo. It is Thunderlips, the ultimate made male. It is the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year Award, which is there it is, the illustrious award held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is none other than your friend and mine. It is Dave Stockbridge. Stockbridge, welcome to your show.
Well, what a massive week it has been in the world of AWE. AWE went international this last week, and I know that the full documentary will be out sometime in the foreseeable future. But the reality is that you have just arrived in the last 48 hours, and I'm blessed that you've returned all in one, and no issue on the plane on the way back. No issue with the belly or anything. No issue.
No, I barely ate anything though.
Well, how much weight did you lose?
I haven't actually weighed in.
Oh,
but
really? Oh, you haven't? Oh, it would have been fascinating to see.
Yeah.
Of course, your match might have been somewhat overshadowed by the main event that was going on there, but you had your own super match whilst you were over there with a WAF world champion.
Yeah.
A 15-year-old with a beard.
Yes. A beard and some very big arms and big chest. Yeah.
So we'll delve into that. But for those people that mightn't have been following the story over recent times, when AWE 3 as a pay-per-view event didn't transpire because we couldn't get the Indian talent over here, Ryan said, you know what, let's just go over there.
Yeah.
And so you guys packed the cameras, went over there to shoot this for AWE Underground. And so AWE Underground right now, this was released earlier today. So if you haven't yet seen the match, you might know the score, but you might not have yet seen the match. Head over to the AWE channel right now and check that out. That's all being released. But Matt, you were there. You were behind the camera. You saw it all firsthand. Tell us about the experience.
Wow, a lot of experiences. There's also so much to tell. And I guess, we'd start right at the beginning where we'd organized everything. We were heading over. This is about 2 months prior to the actual day that we were going to leave. Mm-hmm. We're very proactive and we want to make sure we get everything correct. So we applied for our visa nice and early. And what we didn't realize, this is something no one knows about at all. This is the exclusive. There's 3 people on here at the moment. The Drew is here. You will be the first to hear this story, but we didn't have a visa when we went.
As you were boarding, so tell us. So you got the phone call. So tell us the moment that you found out about the visa issue.
The day before we were leaving.
So this is 2 months in the planning. The day before you're about to say you're packing the bags.
Yeah.
And how did you find out?
Ryan rang me.
Right.
And he goes, can you look up your visa? Because it was approved. We'd applied. We'd been approved. Got an email and it said everything. Yeah, cool. He goes, can you look at that and just tell me what date your visa expires on it? And I was looking through it and I said, this is November the 8th when this is happening. And I go, it says October the 27th. And they said, that's the same as mine. And I'm like, that can't be right because we wrote in on the dates that were going to be there. And so Yes, it was like, oh no, I think we're screwed. And it was a panic mode for the next few hours as to why this has happened and trying to ring the the consulate in India and figure out what's going on. And they kept hanging up on us.
I would have thought they'd have priority for arm wrestlers, like a special phone.
That's right. The red phone.
Yeah.
Direct line.
Yeah. A slightly heavier handset. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you really got to pronate to get it up.
Hello.
Everyone help. Hey, I'm wrestling once. Yeah, so it was the issue was, and the way that it works with the visas in India, the day you apply for the visa is the day they start it, which it makes zero sense whatsoever. Because why then later would they say, and what dates are you going to be here? Because we said we'll be here November, from the 9th until whatever, the 14th or something. So they've approved the visa until the 27th of October. And so Ryan got through to the actual place and explained that and said, no, we wrote. And they looked through the application and said, yeah, okay, you've written those dates. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Thanks for the info, but
it's too late. Your visa has expired. And it's like, we were like, we don't have a visa. And to get on the plane to start, you need a visa. The very first trip. And so, this involved us ringing, Praveen and from Propanja and trying to sort out these issues. And it was like, we're just going to reapply like right now. And so we did. And there's a lot of,
because it's up to 72 hours, they say, like, so from that process. So you don't have that. You're landing in like 36 hours at this stage.
Yeah, I'm taking off. I'm taking off the next day, the next morning at 6 a.m.
Yep.
And so it's right. I think it was 17 hours we had. To be able to get there. And so we reapplied for the visa, which is a long application. Like it takes, maybe 45 minutes of, you got to put everything you have ever done on there. And people in India that and their details, which we had to go and find again and all that stuff. Anyway, so we applied and submitted it. And then it's like, I don't know what's going to happen because this is going to take up to 3 days. We are flying the next morning. And but we had the first one that was approved with the expired dates on it. And it's like, we're just going to have to give them that. And I just hope they don't read it properly.
So you guys have rolled up to the airport, rolled the dice from memory. Ryan was first on. Went, yeah, I'm on board. I made it. Then that gave you a little bit of hope at that stage.
Not really, not at all.
No, did you think?
No, because he's
now statistically higher chance of being caught.
No, him getting on made no difference to me. I was very happy that he made it on there, but he said that I was lucky the guy didn't read it properly, which means now I need to be lucky as well that my person isn't going to read it properly. Because it says on there it's expired. But
did you have a fallback plan in the event that they started to read in a little bit more detail?
I did something
episode.
I did something sneaky on mine, but I won't say what it is. But I did. I created an option that was there that wasn't on Ryan. But yeah. So anyway, but I got to the airport. This was the craziness. Which just started on the very first moment when we got there, man. Like, I'm already worried because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get on this plane. I go to the Qantas check-in and I can't check my bags in. It says you need to see the attendant. Okay, that's bad already. I managed to see the attendant, and this lady's like, "Oh, there's some red X next to your name." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I don't know what that's for." And she goes, "Oh no, they've changed your flight from being with Qantas to Malaysia Airlines." But this took her 15 minutes to figure out. Like she had to go speak to someone, and I'm just standing there freaking out.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Okay, so we've changed you to Malaysia Airlines, and that's way down there." And it's like, I'm supposed to have checked in, 20 minutes ago. And so I got down the other end, and there's two women that are just packing up, and they're about to walk away. And they walk up and they go, "Boarding's closed, like everything's shut." And I said, "But they just changed me to you guys." And they're like, "Oh, who?" And I said, "Qantas they've just sent me down here because they changed me to your flight." And they're like, "Oh, all right. And then,
Ah!
and then they were in a rush because I don't know, they're supposed to get on the plane to whatever. And so luckily, like the woman's like rushing through this, and she's like, "Yep, and you got your passport, yep, and you got this, yep." And I said, so she goes, "Oh, and you got your visa?" And I was like, "Yep." And I gave it to her, and I said, "Do I just put my bags over there?" Like,
oh, a little bit of distraction.
That's right.
That was the option.
That's right.
your
Well, no, there
acting
was another
ability-
thing that I did.
Your acting ability is shining through. So nice. I
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
Yeah.
that wasn't the thing that I did on the.
Look, a bird.
Yeah, that's right. But, and she goes, "Oh, yeah, just over there with the other lady with the bag thing." I'm like, "Cool." So I snuck over there quickly, and I'm standing there, and the other lady's taking my passport and stuff to do the bag label, and then her phone rings, and it's the woman over there is ringing. And I'm like, "Oh
shit!"
yeah." And she's like, "Yep, okay, hang on, let me ask him." I was like,
Oh no.
She goes, "You okay to sit in the exit row?"
Yes.
I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine." And then this other lady comes walking over like quickly, and I'm like, "Oh, she's got the visa in her hand," and I'm like, and she goes, "Here's your visa." I'm like, "Thank you."
Ooh,
Alright.
yes.
And then she goes, "To get on this plane, like we're boarding now, and it shuts in like a few minutes. So you've got to get through security, and then you've like this area is the gates for this one aren't here. You've got to go all the way down the terminal, go down some stairs, and that's where this is." Okay. So this is like, so I'm wearing thongs, and this is about the shoes we were talking about before. My left foot had a grass seed that had buried its way into my bloody toe. And I didn't realize that had happened. I put it out. This is about a week prior to this. But then it got infected. I had to see the doctor, and my foot was basically all swollen up,
Oh.
and it was hurting to walk. And every sort of step, a little bit of blood would be squirting.
Oh.
Right. And so I get to the security part, and luckily there's not too many people. Wait about 10 minutes, get through security. But I know that I've only got a couple of minutes, and it's literally the other end. It's like a kilometer.
And you're bleeding out.
Yeah. And I'm wearing thongs, and so I start running, and I'm 105 kilos, and I'm wearing thongs in a very amphitheatric room, and that's slap, 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 slap,
Just
slap.
smush the blood.
I'm running, and every single person looks up and just watches me go past.
Did anybody cheer you along? Like at this
No.
stage, is anybody like anybody starting to get vested in this? Is he going to make it? Is he going to get there?
No, but they would stop. Like they had food halfway to their mouth, and they'd just pause and watch me go slap, 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 slap.
If you can get people stop looking at their phones in this day and age, you're doing something interesting.
Right.
So-
and blood's coming out my foot, right? And I get to the other end.
Gushing.
I get down the stairs. I get into, I turn the corner, and there's another security checkpoint. Oh no! And they had gone through my bag upstairs because I'd left a stupid pocket knife thing in there, which
Pocket knife?
No, what is it? The Swiss Army knife thing.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay,
I've forgotten that was in there.
that's
Anyway,
not
they
cheap.
got rid of that. So
Okay.
that took extra time. And then I got down to another security checkpoint. There's about 4 or 5 people. Great. Okay, no worries. Put the bag through. Oh, hang on. We have to go through this bag. I said, they just went through it upstairs. And they're like, oh, no, well, something is in there. Oh, this ice gel. What's that?
Oh, it's Jill.
I said, you can get rid of it if you want.
It reduces
And
the
then-
inflammation for those people that.
More ice gel. Like, yeah, more ice gel. There's 4 ice gels in there.
I'm
Just-
an arm wrestler.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you can't. I said, just get rid of them. I don't care. And there was water. You can't take the water, like the bottle. I don't know.
Ugh.
Yeah. Anyway, that's fine. Cool. Just get rid of all of it. I don't care. Anyway, and then through the bag again. Cool. Yeah.
No,
No,
you're
it's
okay.
fine. And then rushed, and I'm breathing, I'm sweating, and lady from upstairs sees me, and she's like, "Oh yeah, cool." And they were just like pulling the strap across to like close it, and she sees me, and she's like, "Oh," and then come through, Oh man, and get in, and this is the first leg, this is the first
journey's
bit.
just begun.
Yeah. And I got a false visa. I had to rush, and it's a different airline now. My foot is bleeding everywhere.
You're a biohazard at this
Yeah,
stage.
yeah.
My goodness.
So we got on that one.
How much of a relief was it when you actually took off at that
It
point?
still wasn't because I
you
knew like this was the short trip. This was Melbourne to
you
Adelaide to
weren't,
Melbourne.
you weren't home and hose.
No.
This wasn't. So you.
Yeah,
So you've got to go through all of this again.
in like an hour. Yeah, this is Adelaide to Melbourne, which is an hour's trip, and then it was Melbourne to Kuala Lumpur.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
So
At least if you're on that flight, there was a chance
Yes.
that you'd be okay.
yeah, yeah.
So-
Well, yeah, but I mean that was the longer one. So Adelaide to Melbourne, fine, no worries. Get to Melbourne, cool, and then luckily I think it was just a transfer straight onto the other one. There was
Okay.
no real hanging out.
You didn't
time.
have to go through that whole process again.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then getting to Kuala Lumpur, when you're landing, it's different to taking off. Obviously, you don't have to show all your paperwork and stuff. And Ryan was in Kuala Lumpur as well, so landed and got there. I think it was like 6-hour flight or something like that. Caught up with Ryan. We grabbed some food, and then he had to go on his flight. And he's like, hopefully, the visa's going to be all good. And while we were sitting there eating, we got an email and it said your visa has been approved. I was like, oh, so that was a very relieving moment. We actually had a legal visa now, and we didn't need to.
Imagine the effect of the cortisol build up that it would have on your strength. Just this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we were worried, man. Like because it was like we were going to get there, we're going to fly all the way there, and we're going to get stuck. And they're like, you don't have a visa. You're going to have to sit over there until you get to the next flight back home.
Oh,
And
you two are frontline warriors for the AWE cause. I tell you,
Yeah.
my goodness.
But so with Ryan's flight took off, he was all good, and he met
Sounds like a movie.
Darren Broad.
Darren Broad, yeah.
And Captain Obvious. Hello to you, sir, and the Drew, of course. Cheers, sirs. Yes, to you too. And the Drew need a mini documentary. Yes, absolutely. Well, we have that. We do have that.
That's
That will be coming.
stay tuned.
That's right.
Yeah, you'll see all of this pop up. So
Yeah. So with
you may be seeing the first draft of the script.
so with my flight from Kuala Lumpur to New Delhi, so I was more relaxed because I now had a legal visa. I'm like, yes, this is great. My flight was supposed to leave at 5 o'clock or something, at 5 p.m. And then at about 3 o'clock, there's a big sign that says, it's been delayed by an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, an hour's not too bad, whatever. And then you get on the plane at 6, and we all get boarded and seated and everything like that. The plane reverses for about 10 seconds and then stops and then sits there for about 15 minutes doing nothing. And then there's an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain speaking. There is a warning light that has appeared on the engine. We're going to have to get a technician out to investigate. Not sure how long this is going to take or what the outcome will be. We'll have to keep you informed. God damn it. And so we're sitting there at about 40 minutes goes by, and then Captain again, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the technician has investigated and it appears that this needs further investigation. So we're going to have to get everyone off the plane. You have to sit in the gate. Don't know how long this is going to take. You might be sitting there. We might have to reschedule. We'll have to see. He goes, I don't have any info at this point. And I'm worried now because I'm like, the event's tomorrow morning. And this is 7 o'clock at night at this point, and it's a 5-hour flight.
And 7 o'clock the next morning is when you're meant to be leaving for the event.
That's right. So it's like, that became the problem. And then so we're sitting in the gate for maybe an hour and a half, and it's all families and everybody, and
children are weeping.
Yes, they were. The kids were screaming, and because they get tired, it's later at night, and but then they started us boarding again. I'm like, okay, great, cool. It must be all good. So we get back on the plane, everyone settles back in, and I've got a kid in the seat in front of me screaming, a baby, and then one directly to my left screaming, also a baby. I was also screaming. And then so same thing, we get boarded, we reverse back for about 10 seconds and then stop. And we sat there for an hour with no info, just sitting there like, what's going on? You know, what's happening? So I've been on this plane for 4 hours. I haven't moved.
Oh no.
And it's a 5-hour flight.
Oh, no.
Oh man. And then so finally, without warning, we just started to move. And it's like, yeah. It's like, oh, all right. And I was like, just take off, just go. And then
Let's just go.
yeah,
Let's sort this engine thing out
That's right.
later.
it's gonna be 9 hours for a 5-hour flight. I haven't eaten or anything because you're getting on and off. They're not like giving you food as you're getting on and off. Right?
Yeah. So it's and quite late at night at this stage.
yeah.
Right.
And so finally, when I got to Delhi, it was like 2 a.m. Right. So I get to Delhi, and then you've got to go through like security, like the immigration, and then you're going to go through customs, and then you're going to go through quarantine. And this is, I'm tired. I've been up for like 30 hours or something, stressed, and I've had kids screaming the whole time. We've been going for ages. And then it's like, okay, cool, go get your bags. I can't find my bag.
No.
The carousel thing that they do for some reason in Delhi, if they've got a whole bunch of attendants sort of standing around, if they decide they've sent a bag, they will just take it off and they'll just put it there on the ground next to them. And so there's now groups of bags as well as what's on the carousel. I can't find mine. And I'm like, I can't find my bag. And they're like, oh, go and see that guy with that little group there. And then that one, and then that guy over there. And then this. And I'm like, oh, I just want to get to I've got to get to the hotel. And finally, it was probably an hour. It took me to find my bag.
Oh, my.
This is 3 a.m. now.
This is the trip from hell.
Absolutely. And then I walk out into Delhi, the first moment of seeing it, and I'm just needing to get a taxi, and so you get the taxi sorted, get to the hotel, everything's cool, and it's like 4:30 or something in the morning, and we got to get up at 6 to go out to compete on the event. And so I got a little bit of sleep, and then we met Pavin in the morning. We met Mazahir, and everything's cool. We're excited. This is going to be great. Don't know how far away this event thing is. And Pavin's like, I've got a couple of taxis going to take us there. I'm like, cool, no worries. And he goes, yeah, it's about 2.5 hours drive. It's like, okay, well, all right.
Sounds like a long drive.
Yeah. And that 2.5 hour drive was actually 4.5 hours.
So you've literally been in transit now for what, 30 hours?
Yeah.
And not in the best of conditions.
and Ryan's like needing to piss at about the 2.5 hour mark.
He's holding on
because he goes like, it's like 2.5 hours, and it's like, surely it can't be much further. Like, it must be just around the corner. I'll wait till we get there. We just kept going. We're going through countryside. There's cows all over the road, and kids, and the cars are coming straight at you. Like the way they drive there, I mean, you can see it on YouTube, but it's just insane. It's literally, the way I feel I could describe it is everyone drives the most selfish way you could possibly drive. Like, it's in, everyone is just trying to push in front of everybody else at all times. And at one point, there was like a slight little bit of a jam, and everyone had sort of moved to the left to try to sneak in and further. And we sort of got there, and it was like our guy was basically driving in the dirt to try to get around. I'm like, surely this is the limit. And then motorbikes are going past us.
There's more. There's always more in India.
They're in the field, just driving past in the field now. So we get to the event. And 4.5 hours
out of
but the driver didn't speak to us at all. Like, he never really said anything as to how far away or what was going on.
No ETA updates.
No. And we didn't know that when we were pulling into somewhere that this was the place. It's like, oh, okay. And both of us.
So your hopes got up every time you went through a new town.
That's right. And then you'd slow down. You're like, oh, this must be it. And it's like, oh no, it isn't. And then yeah, it just kept going. And so we got there. We pull up. We both need to piss. We haven't, whatever. And
Are you getting the feeling like Parvin didn't necessarily need to have this match at this venue, but it might have just been there just to advantage. Mazahir's probably he's been staying in the local palace. He's got a team of people that in a nice air-conditioned suite. He's been beautifully fed and just yeah.
No, well, Mazahir was doing the same as us.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
He was in the taxi. Oh, so there was no advantage here.
Yeah, he wasn't in our taxi. He was in the taxi ahead of us.
Oh, okay.
You could see him.
The one that only took 2.5 hours.
Yeah, they took the actual straight road.
Yeah.
You take them this way, the really windy cow country way.
So what was the reception like when you finally did get there?
This was crazy. What happened? So we've got out of the car. Taryn says that it's like a National Lampoon's The Indian Vacation. Well, it's like that. National Lampoon's Australian Vacation. There you go.
Yeah.
And I hope there's a scene with the bathroom because they drank a bunch of the local water. We were very careful about that. We definitely didn't let that happen. It's like the first 30 years of the car existing, there was no driver's license. Oh, it is. I don't think you need I literally don't think you need a license at all. I think you just
no one's checking anyway.
No, you couldn't imagine. I would hate to drive there. Like it's just absolutely, literally cars that drive at you, like directly in at 60 k's an hour. They're driving at you, and then they'll move slightly, and then
they'll veer.
Yeah. And everyone's honking the whole time. The whole time they're honking.
So you've had 6 hours of honking, potholes, avoiding cows on the road.
Yes, that's
How
right.
many times did you feel like your life was in jeopardy?
Well, I was still excited because I was happy to get there. I just wanted to see what this event was going to be like.
So when you got there, step us through the reception.
Well, so this is the exciting
very
bit.
special.
We've gotten out the car and we've grabbed our bags. This is the place. Oh, great. Okay. Backpack. Ryan's got his suitcase thing. We start walking, and then these drummers start coming out and cheering and playing these drums like loud drums. And then there's like a guy on a microphone like, "Here's the Australian champions, Ryan Bowen, Hollywood Iconic," and they're like, and we walk into this like a big hall, and there's 800 people there.
Wow.
And they all turn and they're all like, cheering and stuff, and we're like, hello, walking through, they're drumming, and this guy on the microphone at the front of the stage is like cheering and so we walked.
It's like a hero's world.
It was like that. It was, and I'm thinking, man,
any of those people at Adelaide Airport, their hair just slapping by.
This is the reason I was here.
It looked up. If only they knew that was less than 48 hours later. This was actually what was going to happen.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And so I was hanging back a little bit, and I filmed some of it on my phone.
Oh yeah, I saw some of that footage.
I popped that up on my channel, but because I felt like Ryan's the star here. Like I'm the goofball.
They did give you a title, Australian champion.
They did, yeah. Australian champion. Yeah. Well, move over, Lachlan Adair.
Nobody tell Lucky.
No, that's right. And we've walked in, and they've got massive billboards of our faces, and doing this pose with me versus Abbas, and then Ryan versus Mazahir, and they're all over the stage. These banners and billboards, and
wow.
We walked right up to the front of the stage, and the guy with the microphone hands the microphone to Bhavin, and he's like, "Welcome, India. This is, says something about Pro Panja," and everyone's excited, and the Australian champion Ryan Bowen, and then he gives Ryan the microphone, and Ryan says a few things. "Oh, thank you, India. We're happy. I can't wait to be able to." And then Bhavin's like, "And then we've got Hollywood McConnelly," and I'm like, "What am I gonna say?"
And what did you say?
I said, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is Hollywood McConnelly with the double biceps. It is the legal contract obligation." and they cheered. They cheered
That's
when I
excellent.
did the biceps. They
So
cheered.
that's I'm guessing that's what would happen if you could see people's reaction on the podcast when you do it as well.
Yeah,
So that's actually what's going on.
that's what happened in real life.
It's your first live feedback.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, and I said, we always wanted to come to India because you guys have supported arm wrestling, number one viewerships in the world, something or another. And thank you very much. Gave the microphone back. Then they introduced Mazahir and Abbas. More cheering and drumming and all the rest of it. And and then we said, well, look, it would take us about 15 minutes to set our cameras and everything up. But we'll be good to go after that. They had a couple of super matches that were running, as we were sort of doing our thing, like setting up. A couple of girls were doing their match and that sort of thing. And it was sort of like a hall, and a stage at the end of the hall. And then they brought out like a throne. There was a throne for Pavin.
And did Pumpkin react, or is this just what he expects now when he
I
goes to
don't
arm
know.
wrestling events?
We laughed. We always because he was sort of getting up and down and coming to see us and stuff. And I said, "What's with the throne?" And he goes, "I didn't ask for it." But everyone's like, you can tell people are excited to see you and stuff like that. And they said, "Oh, come over here." Like once we'd set up, come and sit here. And they brought a chair, and stuff. We were sitting right at the front.
Wow,
the VIP spot. Yeah. Need some water and like bottled water and everything. Yeah, that's right. No expense spare.
Wow.
Anyway, so once we were set and they're ready, Pavin said, "Do you want to do your match? Are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm good to go." And so I was obviously up against Abbas.
Hadn't slept in 40 hours. At this stage.
I don't think it would have made any difference. Abbas, yes, but lovely young man. When I met him, when you shake hands and you're like, "Ah, damn it."
What did it feel like? Was it
like somebody who's super mega strong? And it was like, this is no ordinary 15-year-old right here.
Wow. And if people want to quickly have a look and see what this young man, so he's 15, he looks like he's 32, he's got a beard, I think it's thicker than mine, and I reckon he's bigger than me too.
He's very thick set. Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
like 105 kilos or something.
I think he's in the 90s, but he's not quite as tall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like Taron size.
He's basically a Taron. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
But a little bit taller.
Yeah.
And very similar style as well. And speaking of Taron,
maybe he's Taron inspired.
He could be.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm ready for Matt to say that this is where to get started. This is where it started to get bad." Like it's only just the beginning. How he's still sentient after this.
Well, he did just get to the match, so
that's right. That's right. And I felt like I'd been working with Tim Graham the Sunday prior to about setups and stuff like that, and I felt confident that maybe I could get something in somewhere, and that evaporated very quickly after the first round.
What did you think you might have been able to get?
I thought that I could get a stop off of the start, and then I could tire him out and work at it. But this young man is just too strong. He was just way too strong. I couldn't control his arm at all.
Do you think another 20 years of doing weights might help you?
Sure.
These kids get so strong. 15 years of age.
15. Yeah, it's insane to think. How high the level is, because obviously he's 15. And you've got people that are way above him in terms of world rankings. It's like, how much stronger must they be? So he's a hook puller. He's a very inside style, and it's slightly different to the way Taron pulls. I feel Taron, Broad from South Australia, who's very strong on a hook, he will turn, and it's more of a traditional sort of sideways roll, whereas Abbas is inside, and it's like a downwards hook, like it's down pressure. It's almost like your hand goes directly down, and so that pressure immediately drops your wrist is down here before you can activate your bicep. And so he crushed me in the first round, and the second one I felt was the only moment that I had where I did something, and it was out of straps. He hit, I caught it, and I started rolling back, and I was like, I'm gonna pin him. Yeah, I'm gonna roll through, and then he slipped out. I'm like, no. So I felt confident then. I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, and then he crushed me in the straps.
Oh.
And then he crushed me again in the third round. And Ryan had said to me in between rounds, he's too strong. Like you're gonna have to do something completely different. Like you just can't. Yeah, he
Can't go.
you can't do anything with this guy.
Yeah.
I said, I feel like I can catch. Like if I can catch it, I can handle it.
Mm.
But he's just too fast, too explosive.
Yeah.
And so he was up 3-0. It was first to 4. It was very obvious he was going to win the next one. And so Ryan snuck over to their corner and said, "Can you make it a bit of a match? Get in position and sort of work back and forth a bit. Otherwise it's just going to be 4 flash pins or whatever." And so he did that, which was great. So he got in position and, we got into a hook and, I couldn't move him, but he wasn't pinning and, lasted 10 seconds or whatever. And then he pinned me, but did
the crowd go wild? Like, did they love it?
I think they enjoyed that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I felt it's hard. It's a hard feeling to describe because I knew that I wasn't going over there for a match. I wasn't deliberately, hey, I'm going to come here and win a match. It was like they said, "Hey, if you're coming here, we'll set you up with somebody." It's like, okay, great. So from my perspective, it was like, if I lose, it's great for Abbas because it gets to really promote him.
Yeah.
But I would have loved if we were able to have like a really good match.
Yeah.
It just felt like. I wish that I was able.
Maybe they just assumed you were a higher caliber than what maybe you are.
If everyone's out there, I am not that great of an arm wrestler. Stop putting me against world champions.
Not even the children.
I'm not the best in my local club.
No, you're Australian champion.
I've
heard
that's
this.
right.
I've heard
That's
this
right.
announced.
Exactly.
Good fun though.
It was great. Yeah.
Who would have thought just a few short years ago that you'd be adorning the stage of the world, the arm wrestling stages of the world?
Yeah. Well, so straight after that match, obviously it was Ryan's match. He was up with Mazahir. I will just quickly get these comments here. The dragging hook. Yes, that's what it felt like very much, Taryn. So haven't really experienced that as much. I'm more used to your hook. Obviously, we train together at the Titans Club, but yeah, that downwards pressure was just so different and unexpected. I knew he was a hooker and inside, but I was expecting very much as to what Taryn does and not this down smash. Like, how
would he go against Taryn?
I think there'd be a close match. Yeah. It's hard to tell because I mean, in training, obviously Taryn will not just smash through you. He'll let you work a bit and then smash through you. But in terms of power, it's the slight variations because Taryn feels very traditional in his arc of his hook, whereas Abbas feels very much that downwards pressure. So, and because he's taller and has a longer forearm, it might be quite an interesting battle to see. I think he would probably win the center, given the height and his style. He might get that first third, and then Taryn would have to catch and get back from there. But be a good match. We did talk about that, and we talked about him versus Hamza Hodzic as well.
Yeah, and Hamza just enjoying some success over the weekend at the Australian Federation Championship. So
national champion, and it was Hamza Hodzic.
Yeah,
at 18 years old.
Skip the juniors, and now under 90s,
under 90s champion, and his first go at it. And he's a year and a half into the sport or something. It's just crazy. He's
your AWE junior champion as well. So, which was a belt that we put on because we couldn't have that junior match up because Federation had theirs, their event last year in a licensed venue that wouldn't permit juniors. So, so we put that belt up, and since then, Hamza's gone from strength to strength.
Absolutely, yeah. So he was originally scheduled to face a guy from India as well, Yuvraj Sharma, who was at the event that we were at. He's a lot taller than I was expecting him to be. He's probably my height, and he ended up. They had a tournament that ran after our super matches, which he ended up winning, and he beat Abbas in the final.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Yes, but we did talk about Abbas and Hamza, and I think any of those guys would make amazing match with Hamza and with Taron.
Mm.
The whole fleet of matches. We were like, what are this guy and this guy, and him and him, and like, oh man, we just want everyone to be here now so we can put all these matches on.
So plenty of fun is still to come for arm wrestling fans as a result of being able to grip up with some of these guys and get an understanding as to their level.
Yes.
Both yourself and Ryan have been mentioning that was just a great opportunity in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my match had finished, and then obviously, can we get some of that barbell products here in the US? I don't know if they ship there. Do they ship there? They should do.
I can't see why not.
Yeah, maybe we'll send you some
Yeah,
if you're good, Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, the barbell meats, obviously the sponsor for the podcast.
This is the kangaroo and beef brisket. I think it's all. I think that all of the. I think that's that Jewelworth. It's all that. This is the what? Oh yeah, it's all bub. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the different seasoning.
The biltong is very nice, very nice.
The biltong is very good.
Absolutely. So so we had my match is finished. Ryan is up. It's hot in that room. It is mega hot. There's no air conditioning. Well, if there was, I didn't feel it. So I'm when you're sweating like so much, your shirt is saturated, and it's like you can feel yourself sweating through the shirt.
Yeah,
and it's just pouring down off my face and everything like that. And now I've got to make sure the cameras are working, everything for Ryan's match. So he's had his match, and everything was going amazingly, and this was insane. He was having some issues with the referees allowing Mazahir to close his hand way over Ryan's thumb.
Yeah.
And I think at one point he showed where his thumb was, and it was like there. It was in like the palm of Mazahir's hand. And it was an incredible back and forth battle, because it was Mazahir was up 1-0, and then Ryan came back and it was 1-1. Then Mazahir's up 2-1. Then Ryan's brought it back to 2-2. Mazahir pulls ahead to 3-2, and it's first to 4.
Yeah.
And Ryan settles it at 3-3. Now this is the last final match, the silver bullet match. They're getting into it here, and it's hot. Ryan's sweating. He's been sitting in there for the previous matches as well. So, he's hot, and Mazahir is pouring out with sweat, and he's sucking air, like he's collapsing in the corner each round, and getting 30 guys are waving air at him, and they've stood up for the last round. They've got together. They get settled. They start and they slip. Okay, great. It's going to straps. And Ryan was having an issue with. Mazahir really wanted the strap to be loose, because he likes it to be loose, especially when he's got the buckle, because it allows him as a top roller, when they start, he can pull up and get over the other person's hand, and now you're tied to that.
Yeah.
And so he wants it as loose as possible. Ryan wants it as tight as possible.
Yes.
And but when you've got the buckle, you get to decide how loose or tight it is. And so Ryan's arguing, we want it tighter, like I want it tighter. And Mazahir every now and then would sneakily put his hand in, and he was doing something, pulling something and making it looser. And so they've started. They're about to start their last round, and they get. Referee calls go, and Mazahir gets the center, and he's rolling towards the pin, and Ryan's holding his wrist was sort of compromised, but he was holding, and he's about maybe 4 inches above the pad. I'm screaming, like, hold it. And slowly, it was dragging closer and closer to the pin, and then it hits the pin pad and gets pinned. No. And everyone cheers and goes crazy.
The room would have erupted. 850 Indian arm wrestling fans going nuts.
Yes, that's right.
But
then Mazahir had elbow fouled.
Both men exhausted at this stage, on the floor, completely spent.
Yeah, so Mazahir's elbow, so he couldn't get Ryan's hand to the bottom, and so he's dragging, and as he's dragged, his elbows come off the pad to get that last 2 inches. I was watching the hand, I wasn't watching the elbow, so luckily the referee did see that was a...
That's a brave referee. That's a brave referee.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think he knew he was on 7 cameras, so it was it was going to be pretty controversial if he let that go. Anyway, so they had to restart, and so obviously that both guys are wrecked, and they had to get them back together, they had to argue about the strap again. And
Ryan always felt like if he did get to this stage, endurance was his friend, and Mazahir was his gas tank was going to be spent much more quickly.
That's right, absolutely.
So Mazahir seemingly had prepared a little team of people that were in his corner, icing him down, calling him off with the towels, the whole bit.
That's right. Well, he had actually worked very hard on his endurance, and he'd said, not many people have seen a lot of my matches since I had that match with Coach Ray a few years ago. And so, you know, I did have poor endurance in that match, and now everyone has attributed me to having poor endurance forever. He goes, but I've worked really hard on my endurance. And so, and he obviously had, because he was still in it. And this is the last round. This is 7 rounds in. And so they've got together, they've been strapped again, they're about to start. This is the final moment. And then the lights in the entire building go out. All the power just went out for some reason. I don't know what. And it was like
torches appear out of nowhere.
Yeah, all these torches like are on the stage all of a sudden, you know, trying to guide the way, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And I was annoyed because you know, I knew Mazzy was exhausted, and I was like, Ryan is probably a little bit ahead in terms of freshness, so this is going to give Mazzy here a break. And it did. It was like 5 minutes before they managed to get the lights back on. I was like, oh man. And so they did get the lights back on. Pavin put the plug back in. But
did anybody see? Was the throne vacated?
I should have looked. I couldn't see. The lights are off. Yeah, it's just an empty throne. A pair of sandals. So good. But where are you going with those scissors? I'll be back in a second. So lights have come back on. Okay, great. We get set up. Everything's cool. Check the cameras. All good. No worries. Here we go. And they get strapped and they start and they go. And Ryan had gone all in on defense. He didn't try to hit. He immediately went defense, and he caught Mazzy really high. And I was like, oh, he's got it. He's got it. I knew he had it from that point. When he caught him about half, you know, this high up, because the other times he'd caught him down here
and had to work his way back.
That's right. So he caught him high, and I'm like, he's got it. And I was calling out, just don't foul, Ryan. You've got this. Like, just don't foul. You've got this. And so Mazzy here has hit like 5 or 6 times, and Ryan's caught. And then Mazzy here started to get tired, and he cleverly, like, he moved forwards. He tried to turn it into a hook, and Ryan was sort of flopped in a flop wrist position. And after the match, Ryan said, oh, I felt like he could have gone into the hook. And I was like, should I go on the hook? No, I'm going to keep flop. And so he kept in a flop position. And then he brought it to the middle. And Mazzy here tried side pressure hit. And Ryan kept squeezing tighter and tighter, and then started moving towards a flop press. And Mazzy here's hit again and again and again, like, and Ryan's like, and then that was it. And then that was all the hits that Mazzy had, and he rolled through and he got the win.
Wow!
Oh,
wow!
What a win!
Wow!
What a moment!
Oh, I've seen the video and I heard the story shortly after it happened. Oh, what a story!
Oh man, and
what a story!
So they got untangled, and then both men had the head down on the table, completely wrecked, and then Ryan had to lay on the floor. He fell on the ground. He was like, if I don't lay down, I'm gonna faint. Like, his heart rate was just pumping like nonstop. Mazzy here staggered into the corner, and he was laying in the corner for, you know, it was such an incredible match. And they did the big announcements afterwards. They gave us like a hat and a sash thing, and
ornamental headwear, traditional.
It's sort of, you know, the Bugs Bunny cartoon when the Alibaba and the whatever and the genie.
It's like a genie.
It's that like sort of hat.
Yeah, it's very fun. and like a shawl. I'm not sure what the
orange
name is.
Sash thing.
Yeah, very cool.
That was amazing. And then
and Ryan was presented. He is now your new Intercontinental AWE champion of the world.
That's right.
So that belt was on the line.
Yeah.
And Pavin presented it to him.
That's right.
So
I grabbed it out the bag, and I'm like, who should give it to him? I'm like, Pavin.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So good. And what a great collaboration, and sounds like a great relationship that's manifested there with the Pro Punja guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was incredible. Those guys are just amazing. Wonderful people, and it treated us like celebrities, which was insane. After the match had finished and we sort of packed our cameras and stuff, so we were standing in the crowd, and it was just non-stop. Everybody wanted to come up, get a photo, say hello, have a handshake. And we did that for maybe 3 hours straight. I
Wow.
think I took photos with over 500 people. It was just, yeah, it was amazing. And yeah, we've never had that before. And people doing video calls and say hello to my parents, and so,
So cool. And so you had that 4.5 hour taxi ride there.
Mm.
How long did it take for you to get back?
6.5 hours.
Was this explained? Was this explained at all? Did you go a completely different way? Did you recognize landmarks? Oh yeah, I recognize that cow. From
Oh,
last
there
time.
was that cow,
Yeah.
the black one. No, it was horrendous. So we did the photos. Everything was awesome. We had some food, and it was probably 3 o'clock, 3 in the afternoon at this point. And we knew we had this long drive back, and we were tired. I was like, oh, we should get going because it's late and all that. It's going to be late by the time we get back. Okay, great, no worries. We say goodbye to everybody. People are walking out to the taxis with us and stuff, and it's raining. And they're standing in the rain to say goodbye. We can go inside. It's all right. Anyway, so we start going on this taxi, and 3 o'clock we left, and we drove for 3 hours or something, and we're thinking we can't be that far away. Obviously, it was 4.5 to get here, and then it got to the 4.5, and we're still in like cow country, and we're like, it's been ages. Like, surely this looks the same as. We said to the driver, like, how much further is it? And he was a little rude. He's just like 2 hours. We're like 2 hours. Did you say 2 hours? He's like 2 hours. 2 hours? How can it be 2 hours? It's been 4.5. This is 7:30. And it's like, when look it up on Google Maps, it's like 2 hours. How the hell is it 2 hours? It was 2 hours because it was now Friday night and it was peak hour traffic. And so we got stuck in Delhi traffic for the next hour and a half and crawling along, and everyone's sneaking their way through, and motorbikes flying past and kids running in front of the cars. And so it was a long trip back.
Wow.
We got back. Yeah. So we got back to the hotel. I think it was 10 p.m. or something. And we were both pretty wrecked. Hadn't really eaten because I was very, very concerned about eating anything over there that wasn't like from the hotel or bottled water or whatever, or, in a can that hasn't been opened. So very selective, and it's a hungry tide. Had been traveling for 3 days or whatever, and so we get back. Ryan's like, and I just want to get some food, and I'd love to get a massage because my neck's hurting and all the rest of it. And luckily, Taryn Broad's comment here, lucky there isn't too many people in India. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's very quiet. The streets are empty. Absolutely. And Taryn, 72 hours from the event, was only one sleep away from that. That's true. I was very used. I was accustomed to it, thankfully. I don't think Ryan was as accustomed. But so we get back to the hotel, put our stuff back. We're like, we got to find some food. And then, like, across the road from the hotel is a burger place. It's like, oh, great, it's a burger place. And next to that, a spa and massage place. I'm like, that's perfect. That's fantastic. Exactly what we want. We get a burger. It's fine. I made sure that they cooked it and everything. I did order one of them, and they had silly names. It was the Saucy Clucker, I think it was. And the guy said, that's spicy. And I said, it's honey mustard. And he goes, yeah, that's the spiciest one. Honey mustard. And I said, okay, well, what about this one? I don't know what the other one was. Fine. And it was still spicy, but not didn't burn my face off, so that was good. And we went in for this massage, right? And Ryan's like, I'm really wrecked. I want this like the longest one they've got, which is 2 hour massage.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, great, okay. I said, I'll get the same because I don't want to be waiting around for it.
Yeah, that's right.
So we go into this. We wait for a little while. Then this lady comes, takes Ryan, and then somebody else comes, take me. Go into this room, and it's not a massage table; it's a bed. It's a bed, like just as a mattress. And there's no face hole or anything. It's just a pillow. Which was like, okay, this is
a cultural
thing. I don't know. Right. And so I'm thinking, this might not be the sort of massage I was expecting.
Mm.
But so the bed's got all these flowers and stuff all over it, and
Uh-huh.
it's like, okay, this is weird. Anyway, the lady comes in, and I said, "What do we do with all this stuff?" And she goes, "Oh, you just put it over there." Okay, no worries. And so I just had my jocks on or whatever, and she goes, "Okay, just lay down on the bed, like face down." I'm like, okay, and so I've got to have my face to the side because the pillow's right in your face.
Thing, yeah.
And then it was a massage. Like it was a
It
good
was a
massage.
legit
Massage for an
Yes.
hour and a half
Uh-huh.
of a 2-hour massage.
Oh,
It was a good massage. An hour and a half in, she says, "You want the extra service?" And I was like, "What? Sorry?" And she's like, "The extra service. Do you want the extra services?" And I'm like, No, thank you. I'm all right." And she laughs. She's like, No, extra service." And I'm like, "No, I'm okay." And she thinks I can't understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, hang on," and she
Hang
goes, gets her phone, and comes back, and she's written on there,
extra-
"Do you want extra services?" And I'm like, "No, I'm
No.
fine with just the massage."
I'm here for the arm wrestling. I'm a little bit sore, and if you could just do that, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then she's laughed, and she kept saying stuff in Hindi, which I don't know what. And I said, "I don't know what you're saying." And she kept like the massage going or whatever, and but she kept asking and saying, "This is what I do. I take top off, I lay next to you," and I'm like, "No." She's like, "I do this, I do this." I'm like, "No, I'm fine with the massage. Just the massage is fine." And then she's like, "I'll go get my friend," and we both come in, and I'm like, no, thank you. I'm fine with just the massage. And she's like, "Okay." And then she said, this is about the 30th time she said it. She's like, "We don't get paid a salary. We get paid from the extra service money." And I said, "Okay." So I'm happy to give you extra money.
Yeah.
I said, "I'll give you some. I've got money in my jeans pocket, but
I'll
I
give you
don't
the
want
money.
anything but the massage."
Yeah, I'll give them that. Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, all right." And then a minute later, she's like, "So extra?" I'm like, "No." I said, "I'll give you the money. I'm happy with that. Just massage."
Yeah, no service required.
That's right. And then so it was about 10 minutes to go, and she gets this body scrub stuff, and she goes, "Oh, I've got this scrub, and you'll have to take your jocks off for that." And I was like, "No, I'll just leave them on." And she's like, "Oh, no, it ruined your jocks. You take them off." I'm like, No, I don't care. I'm happy to ruin them. I'll leave them on." She's like, "Oh," she's laughing. And she's like, "You should take them off." I'm like, "No." I'm not going to. Oh man. And anyway, so she did
Did she get offended if she were right in the end?
No, she was okay.
She was
I was
okay.
nice. I was polite, but half the time I couldn't understand what she was saying because
Were you half pretending not to understand as well?
not
So-
really. I
no,
really
you were
couldn't
like,
understand.
Yeah, right.
Because the pattern that they speak in Hindi is the same as the way they speak in English.
Yeah.
And some words are, you can figure out what they mean.
Yeah.
But it's like, but sometimes it'd be half English, half Hindi, and I'd be like,
Ooh.
I sort of got what you meant, but I don't know what you said. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, every time she'd talk, I'd be like, I don't know.
You're running by me again.
Yeah. And I said, I don't speak Hindi. And she kept saying it in Hindi. I'm like, what? Right. So anyway, so she did the body scrub stuff. And that's fine.
Jocks on.
Jocks on.
Yeah.
That's right. And they had like a shower thing in the room. And she goes, "Okay, all finished now." I'm like, "Great." And I got up and I got some money out, like some extra money from my jeans. And I said, "Here you go. That's for you. Thank you very much. Really great massage."
Special service.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
money.
No need
But
for
not the
that's for
service.
you because whatever. And she goes, "Oh, thank you." And she puts the money out. And then she goes, "Oh, you can have a shower now." I'm like, "No worries." And she goes, "Do you want me to come in the shower with you?"
She was persistent.
No. She's like, "It's hard to get the scrub off." I'm like, "I'll be all right."
I've done this before.
But then the water was cold.
No.
It was supposed to. I don't know. They had a problem with their
That was the special service. It was the hot water.
That's right.
The hot water service
Like
is what she meant.
she's turned the heater out when you back. So she left, bro, and then I'm in there trying to get, and it's hard to get this scrub stuff off, and the water is like ice cold, and I'm in a hot room with like hot, oil and scrub stuff on, and so the water's like extra icy, and so you've really got to scrub at this stuff, and it's like every time we'd go, and you're like, so yeah, so that was an unexpected experience. But very, very funny. It was I was thinking the whole time, I can't wait to tell people that this is hilarious. But I didn't want to get upset or angry or something,
No,
Yeah,
you don't want to offend.
Yeah,
You're strange. You're in a strange land.
That's
You
right.
want to make friends wherever you go.
This is the first day I'm there.
What a first day in
I
India.
just got there
Oh.
a few hours before.
Oh, wow. So started with screaming kids and ended up with special services being
Yeah.
offered.
Let me tell you about the flight on the way home. This is a funny moment that I thought was funny. The rest of the time in India was pretty traditional. We hung out and we went to a couple of shops and stuff like that. And we hung out with Mazahir a lot, which was awesome. He's a great guy. There's a lot of footage and stuff that you'll see of Ryan and Mazahir talking through technique and all sorts of things, which was awesome. And yeah, just seeing the level that these guys had and getting a real insider look into their match, like as to they were discussing exactly what happened in every round, what they were doing, how they set everything up, what the other guy can do to stop that. Yeah, it's just amazing.
It was a really good post-match breakdown.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
But yeah, the funny thing for me on the way home, it was a 12-hour flight. It was Delhi to Sydney, and it was Bangalore to Sydney. Anyway, and so I'm quite tall, and I get the middle seat in the middle of the plane, right? And when people put their seat back, like my knees are basically right at the back of the chair already. And so when people see it, just crushes my legs.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want that to happen. And so the guy in front of me was like this Indian guy, and he went to put his seat back, and I put my arm there and just stopped him from being able to get back. And so he's pushing harder. I'm just holding him there. And it got to the point he was basically standing, like his whole body weight, like pushing everything he had. Everything he had. He didn't know I was holding it. He's launching with everything he's got, and I'm just and the lady next to me is laughing. And he's not moved an inch. And it became like a game for the next 12 hours, like, because every now and then he would try, and I'd be like, stop him from getting. And so I had to keep one eye on his hand, because I could see his hand go for the button. And if I saw that, I'd be like, oh, And then so at about 8 hours in, I got up, went to the toilet, and came back, and he'd put his seat back. He'd managed to get it back when I wasn't there. But so when I got into my chair, I pretended to sort of trip, and I pushed him straight back up. I'm like, oh, whoops. And I'm like, shoved him back sitting, and then kept my arms there again for the next minute so he couldn't move back. Oh, you're not crushing my legs with that chair, dude. So good. But yeah, so that I thought that was kind of funny. Just how much he was trying. Like, imagine him having his feet on the seat in front of him and pushing his whole body weight. And
you're just locked out,
not figuring out why his chair won't go back.
Didn't know a muscle man there.
You're not coming back.
So these years of training paying off.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The people on my side could see what I was doing, and they thought it was hilarious.
So what did you like most about India?
The best thing, let me think.
The cows?
No, I mean, it's very culturally different in terms of the way that day-to-day life is over there. But I think just the actual event was incredible. Yeah, just that entrance and then meeting everybody. And we thought, and I think you've said this before as well, that we thought that this was, everyone in that whole state or whatever had driven hours to get there. for these 800 people that were in that room. And then we found out later that's the local club.
That's the local club has 1,000 people turning up on a good week. It's just incredible, isn't it? Everything's just massive, and great that and India was so hospitable, and Praveen and was so generous in his time, and was so collaborative in making this happen. So we forget, like, really. Mazahir is Pro Puncher's poster boy. He's their John Cena. He's their Rock. He's he's their heavyweight champion of the world. And so to have an outsider, come over and compete and maybe take a little bit of that prestige away was a huge risk to this organization that's now attracting 34 million TV sets on watching. For their finals. So it was, a big gamble, but I think arm wrestling was the big winner here. The match was so close. There's rumors already swelling of a rematch, and so it's it was a great. As it turns out, it was just a great experience for all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there definitely needs to be a rematch. I think that was immediately within the next 20 minutes after the match finishing. Mazzy is like, "Oh, I want my next opponent to be you," and rightfully so. I mean, when the match gets that close, it's like, this needs to happen again. 4-3, going from straps and lights going out for the moment to happen, to win right at the end in such a dramatic fashion. It was just absolutely incredible. Couldn't have asked for a better match. And to see that again is just, you'd be silly not to.
So and just finally, after having had the chance to grip up with some of these guys and to get an understanding of their level, what are some of the exciting matches that you think could come about as a result of, like, what athletes do you kind of come to mind that would make a great matchup into the future?
Oh, there's so many good guys there. On the Sunday, we went and trained with a lot of their top guys. Which I think they said it was a Delhi club, but it ended up being one of the guys, Sanjay's house. And whether that's their usual training ground or not, I'm not sure. But a lot of the guys at Boston, and a lot of these top guys had come along, and they were just incredibly strong, all of them. And surprisingly, it was just like every one of them had unique skill sets, and they were all very explosive, but they felt incredibly strong as well. And it was like, the future is bright over here in India for sure. These guys have extreme talent. And then looking at matches, it was just, Ryan and I just standing there going, he would be amazing with Bowen Contado. He would be amazing against Hamza. Taram would love to have a match with that guy. Like, that would suit so well. Of their, let me think. So when we went with the training, there was probably 7 or 8 guys that came along, and I think all of those guys could have absolutely amazing matches with a lot of our top guys.
Okay, so lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I got one more story about with the plane, that same plane, but I was holding that guy. So we've got Cal Chappell. I'll get to Cal Chappell's comment in a sec. I just want to tell this story because I just remembered it then. And so when I was holding the guy's chair from being able to push back, the guy to my right was an older Indian gentleman, and he was quite normal, sitting quietly, didn't really say much the whole trip. But about halfway through, they gave us a meal, and so I ate that. And then after the meal, they gave everyone an ice block.
Oh,
it was like a stick kind of ice block, and it was really cold. It was really frozen hard. This guy was slurping and sucking that bloody ice block like I've never seen. It was like
extra services style.
It was insanely obnoxious. He was I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. And I was glaring at him. Like, what are you doing?
Normal in every other respect. I put an ice block in front of him. The guy turns into an industrial vacuum.
And he stopped and looked at me because I was glaring at him. And then he just kept doing it. And it got so bad I had to put my hand like this. I could not see him because I could see the arm waving.
He was putting in so much effort.
It was moving. It was swinging. And because it was so frozen, he couldn't really get much going. So he had to really work at it. And the sound, the bloody sound. I had my hand like this, and I had to push the headphones and put on full volume and press it into my ear so I could not see this guy or hear these slurping sounds. It was just like, and it went on for like 15 minutes because that's how frozen this thing was. Because I'd look back every few minutes.
How cold is the freezer on the plane? That's insane.
I'd look back every now and then and still see like,
Anything said afterwards? Like,
he just went back to sitting there normally. Like nothing had happened. Like that was the perfectly normal way to eat an ice block. The arm, I'm not kidding, was swinging to get the maximum angle.
It's really going for surface area, maximum surface area.
He was working at this bit, and he was working over here.
Maximum surface area, maximum suction.
That's right.
At all times.
The sound. Oh man.
Wow.
There's that Looney Tunes thing where like the weasel or whatever has the lollipop and he's that was him.
That was that
That
guy.
was him.
That's who that was based on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was And then just when he'd finished, it was back to normal. Sitting there quietly. Quietly. That's a normal Indian man.
It's like accountants with Harley Davidson. this guy in ice blocks. So Matt, this is a question for Matt from Cowchapel, or maybe just a statement. We'll see. It's a question. What I observed from the clips that competing in Indian landscape arm wrestling scene is really weird, related to grips, straps, and so on, so forth. What's your opinion?
I mean, it's always going to be different depending on the referees that you get and the way that certain people run their competitions, and they get used to a certain style. And this is one of the things with arm wrestling, is that because it is an international sport and all areas seem to have like an amalgamation of rules. And with AWE, we've got a different rule set to say the WAF, and then WAL's got different rules to this and that. And so you might be watching, being very used to watching, say, East versus West, and used to seeing those setups and thinking that is the norm, when that's not necessarily the right answer. Man, that might be the norm for their area in that promotion, but it doesn't mean that everyone in the world does it that way.
Yeah.
So for India, I know Ryan was not happy with the way that they were allowing Mazahir to close his hand way over Ryan's thumb. But apart from that,
and the loose strap.
Yeah, well, the loose strap is, I mean, that's something that you're allowed to do. If you're on the buckle side, you get to say how tight you want it, and if they've tightened the strap and they've said, okay, the referees are you happy with that? And you say, yeah, I'm happy, and it's loose. It's a loose strap, but you get to make the call as to whether it's And then obviously when you swap sides, the other person has the decision as to whether or not they want it tight or not. So it is fair in that regard. The shoulders squaring, the elbow fouls, everything like that were pretty much consistent. I think that the referees did a good job, and I really actually liked the way that they allowed us to find our own grip, especially with mine and Abbas's match. It was very much, we'll give you a minute to find your own grip if you guys are happy with your grip. And so, we would get into our position, and then, we'd sort of negotiate a bit of movement, and they'd say, okay, are you happy? And it's like, just want to get a little bit there, and then, okay, that's good. Don't move from there, go. So it was fast starts. There was no messing around. There was no warnings given that I saw for this, that, or whatever. Yeah, I thought it ran really well. I know Ryan had the issue with the closing over the thumb, but I think if that wasn't there, I don't think he would have had any other problems with it.
Okay. Okay, there you go. Well, an interesting adventure and a wonderful new chapter for AWE, and it's been great. So we've had, of course, athletes come from abroad to Australia to compete, but this is the first time we've sent one of ours over to another country. So and very very well, two of ours now. Of course, you're Australian arm wrestling champion.
Oh, and they put up a post that said that I lost 5-0. I was so good that they lost 5-0 in a first to 4 match.
So now the footage is out there. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
I'm only halfway through watching it. So
you haven't even seen it.
I haven't
That's
seen
right.
the
You were
whole thing
watching
yet.
it when you walked in. So
yeah.
anyway, we'll catch up on that. We'll certainly, I think we'll do a little review video of the whole thing, and at some stage in the not too distant future. And certainly stay tuned, because there is a whole documentary that'll go in behind all of this as well, so you can follow the trials and tribulations, of which today Matt has offered some insights into on the podcast today. So. Cow Chapel, greetings, Dave. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing great, Cow Chapel. I hope you're doing great as well. Coming to arm wrestling again, goes out during the Bowen and Sade match, and the traditional drums started playing. Looks like traditional custom. Yeah, yeah, traditional custom and arm wrestling champions walk into the room. They've got specific, particular drums just for arm wrestlers. So it's oh yes. So yeah. Well, thank you very much, Cow Chapel. Thank you very much, Drew. Again, and of course, Dankus. Dankus Arm Wrestling is Taryn Broad. Follow his channel on YouTube. Always very interesting and sometimes quirky little things on there as well. So definitely check all of that out. Cameron Greats, hope you're well, mate. And to everybody that's been supporting us. That Cow Chapel's got one more before we go.
General question during the match: if reffing went bad or the emotions went just high at the particular time, then how do you manage those situations? Do you feel the same last week? Yeah, I think it just comes down to the person, and this is something Ryan talked about after the match, actually, not on camera, but he said that there's a balance point between looking like a dick and arguing your case, even if you're right. You can argue it to a certain degree, but if you push it to a level, there's a level where people start to turn against you.
Got to be diplomatic.
Yeah, and I said the way that he talked to the referees, I think, was fine. I think he stated his case and explained why he wasn't happy. And pointed out the examples, and this is what's going on. And
to the rest credit, you could see he was going off and seeking some advice or guidance. I think from Mazahir's ideas, people actually, and then coming back, no. But it seemed to be.
It's one of those things, because you do have. I mean, say with Devin or with some of those people that really do get aggressive towards the referee, and it can turn fans against them, because it's like, this guy's just acting like a tool, know, like in this moment, he may be right, he may be absolutely correct, but the way you're speaking to this referee, like he's volunteering to be there, like you don't deserve to be spoken to aggressively, and if there's a problem, explain what the problem is, and then hopefully they'll do their best to correct it. But you, as an arm wrestler, have accepted that when you step up to that table, referees are not perfect, and they will make mistakes, and you have agreed to compete in a competition where that is a possibility. So the onus is on you as to making that choice, as to compete in this sport where the refereeing isn't perfect. So if you're going there expecting perfect refereeing every single time, you're foolish. Like, it's not going to happen. Like this, ideally that's what would happen. And you can state your case and say, look, this isn't fair, and these things are wrong, and these issues need to be corrected. But to be aggressive and to be frustrated and to blame other people on your losses, I just think that's completely ridiculous.
Indeed.
All right.
Very, very good. The Drew's right onto Taryn's channel there. Dankus Arm Wrestling. Jump on board. Taryn Broad is one of our top younger athletes in Australia. He's doing great things. He's been on AWE cards previously and will be again, I'm sure, in the not too distant future. He's one of the bright shining stars of the AWE. We can't wait to see him back on the tables too. So, and to all of you who continue to support what it is that we do here at the AWE, thank you very much. Of course, never hesitate to head over to the AWE Arm Wrestling website.com. If you head over there, you will you'll see all the bibs and bobs, and you won't see much of the new footage, but we'll get that up in the fullness of time. I guess stay peeled for notifications and updates, because of course we will be piecing together a little bit of a behind the scenes footage and a bit of a documentary of that great event in India just last week. So thank you very much, Hollywood Matt Connolly. Thanks for representing your country very well with the double biceps. Contractual obligations have been fulfilled. I'm Dave Stockbridge. This is the AWE podcast. Slip to straps. We'll see you next time.